What's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Glad to be in here this morning. Very light on sleep. We'll just leave it at. I think we ended up getting about 4 hours, as obviously the game wrapped up pretty late. Post-game show went even later, and of course, it takes me another hour to kind of get in the bed. But we're here ready to talk Packers on this victory Monday morning, December the 16th. Hopefully everybody's doing well before we get things cranked. So I see the chat's already filling up. We got a lot of people piling in here. Man, this was a fun game to watch. You know, we talked about on the pregame show yesterday. I made a comment. You know, it's probably going to be a close one. You know, 2.5-point favorites on the road. Obviously, Geno Smith been playing pretty good ball, though he does turn the ball over quite a bit. But we made the little comment there toward the end, like, man, it would be really nice just to get one of those games where you win by 20 points and continue to create momentum or start to create momentum coming off of that tough Detroit loss. That momentum created to go into the playoffs with, you know. So obviously that's what happened last night, man. The defense showed up. Jordan Love showed up, protected the ball really well. That's always the key. I know we had the one Josh Jacobs fumble, but like we'd mentioned, anytime you touch the ball as much as he does, both in the running game and the passing game, you're going to fumble. It's going to happen. You feel a little bit worse if he was being careless with the football on that play, but he really wasn't. It was just a hell of a play by the defense to knock that out. Edgerrin Cooper shined. I thought Christian Watson shined. You know, a couple plays won't show up in the stat column as the pass interference that he drew. And then, of course, the pass interference that Romeo Doubs drew that led to the 3 points right before halftime to win the middle late as well. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch for sure. Let's go to the chat real quick. I know we got a bunch of people in here. Chris Ian says, I really hope after last night there's no question about playing time for Carrington Valentine over Stokes, right? Chris, you know where I stand on that. I'm on the side of, hey, Carrington needs to be getting the bulk of the snaps. Let's get him ready for next year. Let's get a good look at him going into the offseason to really determine how aggressive we need to be at the cornerback position if we plan on Jair being a part of the team next year, which I have no reason to think he won't be. And two, is he going to be healthy, right? Now, with that being said, it got loud in the chat last night, and you guys know how I stand on this. Just because I've got a specific opinion doesn't mean I'm right. I mean, it's probably the opposite of that most of the time. But when you see more people than not in the chat talking about Stokes had a good game, Tim mentioned it too right off the bat before we even went live. I got to step back and look at all his reps. He may have had a great game. And again, we'll hit the PFF grades tonight. But as it stands right now, man, that's where I'm at. I want Carrington Valentine over Stokes, but the coaches have made it really, really clear there's going to be a rotation. Now, they may change that tune this week based off what the tape shows them. We'll see. But understand your concern there. Nick McSwain says, holy mackerel, Coop got a 95.5 PFF grade. So glad he's on this team. I think that was his second or third time this year grading out in the 90s too, Nick. He's a dog. We're going to talk about some of his plays here in a minute. He's going to be all over Chalk Talk, obviously. I need to put a separate video together just showing his key plays because, like, the tackle for loss might not show up on Chalk Talk. But, man, the sack, the interception, just absolutely huge for sure. Just had a hell of a game, and I'm with you. I'm glad he's a Green Bay Packer. Donovan Schilling, always easier to get going on Victory Mondays. It is, man. Going on 4 hours sleep, and you guys can hear it in my voice, it's about to go completely. We talked so much yesterday, last night, and, of course, we hung around after the show and just cut up for a little bit. Yeah, it's a lot easier to get up on a Victory Monday. There's no doubt about that, man. It's one of the best days of the week for sure. Biz in the house says, always a great win over the Sea Chickens. Let's punch our ticket next week. Amen to that. And a matter of fact, we've got the updated NFC playoff standings here, and this is specifically geared around the playoffs. So it puts like winning percentage, divisional record, conference record, strength of schedule, and strength of victory all right here on the screen grab. So as it sits right now, the teams who have clinched in the NFC are the Detroit Lions at 12-2, the Philadelphia Eagles at 12-2. This means clinched a playoff berth. And the Minnesota Vikings at 11-2. Okay, so the seeding, however, goes Detroit 1, Philadelphia 2. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are your 3 seed right now at 8-6. The LA Rams are your 4 seed at 8-6. And then the Minnesota Vikings are the 5 seed, already clinching a playoff berth at 11-2. The Green Bay Packers are currently the 6th seed at 10-4. Then you got the Washington Commanders at 9-5. And then behind the Commanders, you've got the Seattle Seahawks at 8-6. And I just want to mention this. We want the 6th seed. Hell, we want the 5th seed. We got Minnesota coming up. We want that 5 seed, don't get me wrong. But when you start thinking worst case scenario, really the team that you got to pay attention to is the Seattle Seahawks. You want to win every game from here on out. But if for some reason you hit a hiccup, you want to make sure that you've got a better record than the Seahawks, right? They're the team that's kind of competing for that final wild card spot, whether it's with us and the Washington Commanders at 9-5 or, like I said, the Green Bay Packers at 10-4. So that's the team you really want to watch moving forward, them and the Commanders, to kind of ensure that we get the playoffs. But with that being said, man, let's go for that 5 seed, right? Let's go try to grab it. The North obviously is not out of the realm of possibility yet. But it's, I have a hard time believing Detroit's going to lose every game from here on out. I think that's pretty much what it would take for the Green Bay Packers to end up winning the North with the tiebreakers. So that's your NFC standings as it sits right now. I guess we can go ahead and mention the Chicago Bears. They are the 14 seed at 4-9. Obviously, they were officially eliminated from the playoffs yesterday. So the Bears are going to Bears, man. It's just the way it goes. So I'm going to try to keep up with the chat as we're flying solo until Tim gets woke up. Let's see what else we got here. Nick McSwain says Packers have had a stronger strength of schedule than the Lions. Let's check that out real quick, man. I didn't catch that. It's a good catch, Nick. Let's see here. So strength of schedule, 552 for the Packers, and the Lions, 536. Matter of fact, boys, it looks like of the playoff contenders, only the Falcons and the Cardinals had a tougher schedule than the Packers. So, again, we don't look for participation trophies or, consolation prizes, but it's worth noting. It really is. So that's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. And look at the Eagles. The Eagles have been dominating. Don't get me wrong. They're 12-2, put on an awesome performance in the passing game yesterday, but them sitting at 440 strength of schedule, that was strength of victory. What? Strength of schedule 451. Did I look at the right one? I did. Okay. 451. That's significantly lower than the Packers, right? Like 100 points lower. So, man, that's something that might kind of pop up in the playoffs, right? It really might. Atlanta Falcons had a tough go of it, man. Now they're 6-7, but sounds like they had arguably the toughest schedule in the NFC. So thank you for bringing that up there, Nick. Appreciate it, buddy. Prince says Atlanta winning will make the NFC South more interesting. It really will. That's going to be kind of a two-horse race there. Obviously between Tampa and Atlanta as they come down the stretch here. I feel good about Tampa with the way they won yesterday. I think Tampa's going to win that NFC South. There's no doubt in my mind there, but you never know, right? Andy Watkins, Bears upset tonight. Let's hope so, right? Let's hope so. Matter of fact, I'm trying to remember. Is it the Vikings they play? I think it is, right? Bears at the Vikings, man. Monday Night Football. Let's go. I wish it was outside. It's in that crappy dome, unfortunately. But that's awesome, man. That's kind of what the Bears are playing for now, right? Like you've got some teams on that roster that know, all right, there's going to be a new head coach, and everybody's ass is going to be on the line here. They're going to want to bring in their own guys for the most part, but these last 3 weeks, in this case, with them having 4 games left, this last 4 weeks. Put the best tape together you can. So you may end up getting the best version of some of those players that are on the fringe of maybe not being on the roster next year. Of course, I think it's worth mentioning a couple of them might be going, I don't want to play. I don't want to be back here next year. They may have already had their feel of playing for the Bears organization. Now, you bring in another head coach, whether it might be, Ben Johnson from Detroit. There's a lot of rumors about that kind of swirling that might be their top choice. You don't know who they're going to bring in as GM. Again, I think this Bears team is going to be looking to play the spoiler for the rest of the league, right? I think there's a little bit of that factor, and we got to watch out for that come week 18 when the Bears come to town, right? So let's see here. Nick McSwain said Lions had the first place schedule too. Nick, that's the beautiful thing about the league, like. The way it's designed, think about this. It's the perfect setup. And I know we bash the league for how they handle the officiating. I know we bash the league for the penalties or the not the penalties, but the fines sometimes and what they're trying to do with the kickoff rule and this and that. But think of their model. It's set up so the worst team in the league gets the best pick, right? It's also set up for the team that loses the most in free agency gets comp picks, right? The higher comp picks. And it's also set up with a salary cap that the team who's winning now probably spending a lot on the cap. That's going to catch up to them. So the next wave of teams that are spending the least amount will have cap space to make the biggest jump. And then on top of that, with the scheduling, like you mentioned, you got the league is set up so that whoever finishes first, and I know you know this, Nick, but maybe some people listening don't. The team who finishes in first place has to play all the first place in their division. The team who finishes second place in their division has to play all the second place teams in the other divisions, right? And then, of course, you do that rotation of each division every whatever it is, however many years. So it's set up perfectly. It's like the perfect model for parity, right? Like it's a beautiful thing. It's what makes the NFL king. So like what you're saying here, Lions had the first place schedule too. Those were the first place team last year. But so much changes from year to year. It's just this constant turn. Well, look at the Lions. It was just a few short years ago. We were laughing at them, right? I mean, they were the laughing stock of the league. And look at them now. They're one of the powerhouses. So it's a beautiful thing, man. The NFL is absolutely awesome. It is awesome. Number one Packer fan says, with all that being said, get down here real quick. With all that being said, the Bears still suck. Please win tonight. Please win tonight. We know you suck, Bears, but please, somehow, some way, win tonight.
The Bears still suck.
All right. Good morning, Daryl. Good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you swinging through. If you guys would hit that like button on your way in, feel free to sub to the channel. Had a great night last night, man. Subs going through the roof, likes, all that good stuff. We appreciate y'all boosting that algae for us. No doubt. Ron Sample says, anyone on X say anything about Quay? I haven't heard anything yet, which you know how the Packers are. They're going to keep that close to the vest. Sometimes the media members will leak out a little information if he was on crutches or he was, you know what I mean, that type of thing. He wasn't on crutches. I haven't heard anything. If anybody's heard anything in the chat, pop it in there. But I've been watching tape all morning. I got up a couple hours ago and just jumped right into the All-22 and started kind of, breaking down what's going on. What happened? Why did it happen? That type of thing. So, yeah, I don't know, man. If anybody knows anything about Quay, let us know in the chat. My guess is, though, Ron, even with us playing on Monday night, I'm pretty sure that means the injury report won't come out till Thursday. They'll probably keep this really, really close to the vest. I'm not trying to sound like an ass here, but I'm just going to be honest. I'm not concerned about it. If he has to miss significant time, I'm not concerned. I understand what people were saying last night. I think Tim said it, maybe Emilio, you wanted to see Quay and Cooper on the field together. It's like we keep getting robbed of that. But Edgerrin being back is the most important thing. I kind of made my opinion very well known a few weeks ago. I think Cooper is the Mike of the future. And when I say Mike, I mean the number one linebacker. He obviously is going to play Will from time to time. He's going to play Mike. The sack he had, he was technically Mike, although it was a double A-gap mug. We'll show that here in a second, where the double A-gap mug ended up being a fire zone blitz. And also, I want to mention this. We'll get to it in Chalk Talk with the interception. Pretty sure that interception was in zone defense. So I think that would make 11 interceptions this year in zone, only 2 in man coverage. So, yeah, there we go with that. Let's see anything else. Daryl said, I named yesterday's player of the game, Edgerrin Cooper. I don't think you're going to get any arguments there, Daryl. He was dominant, man. And again, before the game, posting that story on his Instagram of Michael Myers, it's like, okay, this dude, he must be feeling really good. Some of us like, well, you heard me all week. But snaps will probably be limited. You know how the Packers are kind of conservative in that regard. But man, he came out dominant. I don't even know what his snap count was. We may try to grab that here in a minute. We just got a lot of other things to cover for sure. Let's see here. Anything else we got in the chat? I think we're pretty well caught up. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Hit that like button for us while you're in here. Let's go to this. Let's do this. Let's go to the Packers Twitter page. And let's get some of these videos we didn't get a chance to hit last night. Josh Jacobs coming off the field in Seattle.
Pack Nation, man. We back. You see how many of us in here, man? Felt like a home game away from home. Keep balling. Go, Pack, go.
Love it. And he's talking about the fans, I'm sure. Man, did you guys hear the Go Pack Go chants in Seattle? And here's what's crazy. Like the 12th man, it doesn't have quite the buzz that it used to back when they had the Legion of Boom and they were just dominating everybody in the league. But they still have, I would say, a top 5 home field advantage. That's just my opinion. There was a couple times that Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico on the Sunday Night Football broadcast last night mentioned that Seattle might have to go to a silent count. That's how loud the stadium was when they had the ball. So, I mean, it really does. That says a lot about Packer fans, and the fact that they travel as well as they do is just, it's phenomenal, man. And Josh Jacobs with that video, obviously coming off the field, man, just what a blessing he is to this team. You got to really, really tip your cap to Goody. The fact that Goody, went out and got him in free agency and, did it with obviously Aaron Jones kind of hanging in limbo. And I know some people try to make it sound like, oh, well, we just completely dogged Aaron Jones. My argument was you let about $1 million get in the way of having arguably the best backfield in the league. But when you kind of look at how Matt LaFleur has attacked this and how they adjusted their offense, Aaron Jones was obviously here when Matt LaFleur got the job. And I'm not saying Aaron Jones doesn't fit Matt LaFleur's offense. Don't get me wrong. But he is that slasher. He's that guy that's going to cut all the way across the grain, all the way across the field. And he's more of a hard cut slasher. Josh Jacobs is that patient back with great feet, quick feet, runs with power, runs with great pad level. He's designed to run between the tackles. And we talked about the numbers, and I can't remember the exact statistic, how they were, running between the tackles. It was like, I think we were like first in the league or second in the league in rushing yards between the tackles, or maybe it was yards per carry, something like that. It just feels like Goody and Matt got together going into the offseason, like, hey, I really want to shift the focus to running inside more as opposed to outside stretch plays. We haven't seen a lot of 26 calls this year. We haven't. So I think it's more designed for Josh Jacobs, and I think Matt LaFleur kind of sees, hey, look, this is what you're looking for. The league has caught on to the outside zone, the outside stretch play. We talked about, 4 or 5 years ago, it was all the rage because that's the leading explosive play in the league on the ground, meaning runs of 10 yards or more. So teams adjusted to wide 9 looks and started to take that away, and then they really pressed into that. So when you're trying to control those explosive plays, both in the pass and on the ground, and specifically this case the ground, you're going to go to those wide 9 looks and look to stop it. And it kind of feels like Matt has adjusted to, all right, let's keep it between the tackles, right? And let's run a lot of counter. Let's run a lot of duo. Let's run a lot of 22 dive. And if Jacobs wants to bounce it out, awesome. But just really set everything inside out. It kind of goes with the nasty splits that we talk about, lining the receivers up, all the targets up inside the numbers, or at least predominantly on one side inside the numbers, and then stretching maybe on the field side, opening things up. When you play with those nasty splits, you're playing inside out. That's just as tough as playing outside in for the defense. And when you're playing inside out and everything's so compact, and then you're running Josh Jacobs between the tackles, and he has that ability to bounce it outside, man, you talk about putting stress on a defense, knowing that dude can take it to my outside shoulder, but he's going to smack me in the mouth inside the tackles. That's a good place to be for the Packers and a tough place to be for the defense for sure. So, all right, let's go back to the Packers Twitter page here as we had the players running off the field last night in Seattle.
Let's go!
Love it. And the big thing right here, guys, look at that. Christian Watson jumping. We were all worried. You see he's got the sock pulled up there, or the sock pulled down, the leg sleeve pulled up. We were a little bit worried about, oh, crap, what happened to him? It was just a cleat. We confirmed it on the post-game show last night. People were talking about it this morning. So, yeah, that's exactly what Prince said. Watson doesn't look hurt at all. It was just he got cleated in the shin is what it sounds like. If anybody's played sports, I played baseball, and I played shortstop. And when those runners come in to take you out, spikes up, there's not much worse pain than right on the shin bone, a piece of metal jabbing you right in the bone. It sucks. So it's obvious that's what happened. And really, really glad to hear that he's all right. Obviously, man, it's huge. So Let's see what else we got in here. Garrett Stritzel. Actually, we'll just let this play in the background here as we talk here. Garrett Stritzel, good to see you, buddy. He says, imagine what the offense could look like once Musgrave and Lloyd could contribute at the end of the season. AD continues into the playoffs. So, yeah, as far as Musgrave and Lloyd, yeah, the thing that Musgrave brings to the table is that flexibility of putting the Y out wide and kind of using him as a wide receiver as opposed to a traditional inline tight end. I don't think that's going to catch people off guard like, oh, crap, they've got a tight end out here. They caught us in a mismatch. I think it's going to get to the point, like if I was a defensive coordinator and when the Packers put Musgrave on the field, I would probably treat him like a wide receiver. That's just me personally. What we've seen, and I can't imagine while he was hurt, he got better at run blocking, right? What we've seen is he's not a good run blocker. He's pretty effective in the passing game, although the contact balance, things like that, are a little tough. Hopefully he gets better. I just don't expect a lot of huge contributions from Luke Musgrave because there's going to be rust to knock off. And, again, I wasn't like crazy impressed with him when he was healthy. Now, you guys know if you go back to draft day, I was excited about Musgrave. Like Musgrave was hands down the best player on the board, if I remember correctly, when we took him. And I had him like, I think, one tier higher than Tucker Kraft. And when I say I did, it's not my personal scouting. It's the information and the system I used to compile all the data to create a draft board. Tucker Kraft ended up being the better player, the more dominant player, the more physical player, the one with better contact balance, the one with better hands. There's no two ways about it. Musgrave probably a better route runner. I feel comfortable saying that he's a better route runner than Tucker Kraft, but the way we utilize our tight ends with the leaks underneath, you don't really have to be an excellent, route runner. You just want them to be a good run blocker, and you want to make sure that they're willing and able to pick up yak and obviously break tackles. So that's a big thing for me with Musgrave. I'm trying to curb the enthusiasm. And here's the thing too, Garrett. He may come out and he may pass Tucker up in the next, 6 games, whatever. It might, be early next year. We go, damn, he's better than Tucker. That could be a thing. I just wouldn't put my money on it based off what we've seen up to this point. Now, as far as Marshawn Lloyd, what surprised me last night, and I wouldn't say it's a gripe, but if there's one thing that kind of made me perk my ears up, it's like, why didn't the other guys get more touches, seeing that we kind of had control of the game pretty much the whole night? Like, why didn't Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks get more touches? You know what I'm saying? Because we did. We ran the heck out of Josh Jacobs. As a matter of fact, let me pull this up real quick if I can find it. I want to just see exactly how many carries. Yeah, we ran him 26 times, Like, if there was ever a game where you would say, hey, all right, we got a little bit of a lead here. Let's press into the backup running backs. You think this is it, right? But Emmanuel Wilson only 3 carries. Now, for 9 yards, obviously wasn't effective. Chris Brooks only 1 carry. Jaden Reed got those 3 jet sweeps, and don't get me wrong, 27 yards, pretty good day. They're averaging 9 yards a clip on the jet sweeps. But again, them loading the box is going to open that up. So I don't know. It just kind of caught me off guard a little bit. So I say that because with Marshawn Lloyd coming back, maybe Matt does see him as a legitimate weapon. Like, hey, I want to get the ball into his hands in space. The rust factor is what slows me down there. And I'm not trying to like dampen the mood here. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I apologize for coming across like that. I'm just trying to curb the enthusiasm. Like, okay, these guys haven't played ball in a long time, right? They have been practicing, and I love the ramp up period. That's definitely a good thing. So we'll see how it goes though. But good to see you in here, Daryl or Garrett. Appreciate you, buddy. All right, let's move on to the next thing on Packers Twitter here. And I believe, here was Romeo Doubs leaving the field last night. Just a quick little video. It's cool to see Rome healthy, obviously, after the concussion. Here's Romeo Doubs.
Romeo Doubs said we got a dub on the road, not easy to win. Last but not least, go Pack Go.
I love it, man. He's so humble. Like we know who you are, Romeo. But he's like, hey, I just need to tell you, here's Romeo Doubs here. Like, I love that guy, man. I thought he played a great ball game last night. That catch last night, man. Whew. That's one of the best catches of his young career. Like, that was phenomenal. And it was at a time where that was kind of like, okay, now I feel comfortable about this. If they have to settle for a field goal in that situation, you're feeling a little more nervous about the outcome of the game. But him snagging that catch, Jordan Love with the anticipation throw, Like it was just enough touch, just enough inside to give Rome a shot at it. And I guarantee you Jordan doesn't throw that pass if the cornerback or the defensive back's numbers on his back aren't visible. Like Aaron Rodgers talked about that all the time. I'm sure it's something that Jordan learned from him was anytime I see the back of their numbers, I'm throwing that. I'm throwing it every time. I'm throwing it right by their ear. That's a green light to throw the football. So it's just it was just a good throw, good catch. We'll get to it here in a second, I'm sure. All right, we'll skip over that since that might get us a little copyright issue. All right, here's the big one. Here was head coach Matt LaFleur in the locker room last night talking to the guys. This is my favorite part of Victory Monday. It's become a tradition. We play this every Victory Monday. Let's see what the message was from the head coach to the Green Bay Packers here, getting this huge win out in Seattle.
Hey, man, way to handle your business. Going on the road and winning in this league is not an easy thing, but give it up for yourself. Total team effort right there, man. How about our defense today? 7 sacks. 7 sacks. That's a hell of a deal, man. Hell of a deal. Offensively, I thought we had a really good first half. Got a little slow in the second half. A lot of things to work on there. I thought our kicker did a hell of a job today, McManus. I got 2 game balls. This guy came back after missing 2 games. Had 2 tugs, right? And a hell of a catch at the end of the game. Give it up for Romeo Dobbs. And I've got another one. This guy had 7 tackles, a sack, 2 TFLs, 2 PBUs, 2 quarterback hurries, and a pick. Handle your body, handle your business. We got another primetime game at our house, a Monday night game against the New Orleans Saints. All right? Every game is critical, man, and we got to keep stacking these wins. You with me?
Hey, man, we talked about all week. These are games we need to win. These are playoff games that we're going to be seeing real soon. Keep working, keep getting better. Take it one day at a time. Let's go. Pack on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey!
Love it. Love the message there. So, yeah, it seems humming, man. Matt's got them peaked at the right time. Like he said, you just got to keep stacking those wins. You got to keep building that momentum as you get closer to the playoffs. I can't think of anything that could have went any better last night, to be honest with you. You know, I know there's some people questioning the play calling, questioning the 2 minutes before halftime. And of course, Matt's going to stay, after that win, he's going to take ownership, right? Yeah, I should have done better here or there. I had no problem with that 2-minute drive. I just didn't. And I know I'm in the minority with that, but I mean, you could see what can happen. Look at that first Detroit game where it's just being too aggressive and you absolutely losing the entire game off of one drive where you're trying to do too much in a short amount of time and not taking the middle eight too serious. Last night, I thought they didn't handle it perfect. And here's the thing that no one wants to talk about. They just want to blame Matt LaFleur, right? Well, that's Matt LaFleur. That was horrible sequence there right before halftime, right? That's what the common argument is. They're conveniently leaving out the fact that Jordan changed the play at the line. It was kind of like the Caleb Williams situation in Detroit on Thanksgiving. Like, you got there with plenty of time to run the play and everything. Jordan seen something, changed the play, and tried to get into the absolute perfect look, right? And then obviously it runs the clock down a little more than you would want it to, and you got 2 timeouts. So some would say, well, Clayton, the head coach has got to recognize that and call a timeout. Why? After you've already run off 12 seconds? I mean, you've already absorbed the penalty aspect of it, right? You've been penalized by losing that time. Now you're going to call timeout and lose that advantageous look, right? And then obviously Romeo Dobbs draws the PI there, and you end up with 3 points. So it looks a lot worse if they don't get the 3 points. I'll concede that. But again, it's all about controlling the middle eight. If you come out too quick and you have a couple incompletions and they get the ball back and they somehow go down and score, it's a totally different ball game. We're talking about Detroit again, where they're getting the ball back after halftime, and then everybody's pissed off. Why did we do that? Why didn't we got a big lead? Why ain't we playing the clock? It's like you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. That's all I'm saying. So I was totally fine with it. And I had people texting me, and that was my response. Was like, man, I don't know what else to say. Like, I can't make my stance any more clear. When it comes to the last 2 minutes, really the last 4 minutes of the first half, when you get inside that 2-minute warning, I'm always going to be on the side of play it smart here. Play it safe. Don't do anything stupid. I understand high risk, high reward. But again, to me, it proved to be the right decision because we end up winning the game 30 to 16. So I don't know. I feel like it is. I feel like it is nitpicking on Matt LaFleur, a guy who's got a top 10 winning percentage all time in the NFL. And I'm not saying you can't criticize him. I'm just saying if that's the hill that people want to die on, so be it. I just got to respectfully pass. So that's how I feel about that. I rock in the house. Happy Victory Monday. Hey, appreciate you swinging through, buddy. Appreciate you this morning. It's going to be a glorious day here with the Victory Monday for sure. All right, let's get into some of the stuff that I tweeted out this morning. We'll get into a little bit of tape. This was awesome. K9 tweeted this out. Actually, the NFL tweeted it out. Packers mood, and it's obviously Keyshawn Nixon with a ski mask on, poured over his eyes. And K9 tweeted it out with some laughing emojis. It's cool to see him and how he's his role has expanded. One thing, every year you learn something about this team, and I'm sure other fans learn things about their teams as they go through. If they're really truly trying to watch, okay, what did we come away with the last 4 weeks, or what did we come away with this entire season? The big thing I've come away with Keyshawn Nixon is he is a much better outside corner than he is in the slot. And that's wild to think about because that's how he kind of got his break, was in the slot. And he's very physical with his tackling ability. He's also good on the nickel blitzes, the nickel fires. But to me, he plays much better outside. And I'm sure he would probably agree with that too. Like, he'd probably tell you, hey, I've got an extra defender in this out of bounds line. I just got to kind of keep this guy in check from the inside out, right? As opposed to in the slot, you're covering a lot more ground. So I hope that we can get healthy to the point where Javon Bullard can get back in the slot and allow Keyshawn to play on the outside. However, if Jair is healthy, then maybe you just keep Keyshawn in the slot until Bullard is healthy. I could see that being the case too. My thing too is, like, when you look at their skill set, I kind of feel like Carrington Valentine would be a better slot receiver than Keyshawn Nixon. Now, I'm sure the stats would suggest otherwise, but I don't know how many slots Carrington ever played in the slot in college at Kentucky. I watched him at Kentucky. It seemed like he was always on the left sideline from the offense's perspective, so that would have made him right cornerback. I wouldn't mind to see him in the slot and pop Keyshawn back outside. That's just me personally. But again, it's obvious the coaching staff sees something in Eric Stokes that they want him to start, right? So, or at least get a good share of the starting reps, I should say. So, .com in the chat. I love signing Nixon back. I caught a lot of crap with that decision, but Nixon is a flat-out dog and has the attitude our defense needs. I think he is kind of an emotional leader for sure. He seems like that dude that he's never satisfied either. You know, he's talking about he hadn't made a play in a while. Right after he, had that hustle play across the field, punched the ball out a few weeks ago, forcing the fumble. Huge play there. Obviously, last week he had the interception where he had curl flat responsibilities in his own defense. Stayed at home, jumped the route, was really eyeing Jared Goff. It was a great play there. Last night he had a rough night. There's no two ways about it. The two penalties, as everybody's saying, one penalty. That first one was really, really ticky-tacky. Yeah, I think Chris Collinsworth said the second one wasn't even a penalty, but I kind of felt like it was. I could see why they threw the flag. But I'm with you.com. I was on board with that. I thought, man, for the amount of money they signed him for, you set a fairly high floor for the cornerback room, especially slot. At worst case scenario, you got a backup slot corner, and that's exactly what happened last night, right? Like, we talked about that in the offseason. Like, all right, if Javon Bullard takes over the slot corner position, if something happens and he gets hurt, Keyshawn Nixon is a pretty damn good floor, a pretty good backup plan to that slot corner position. But again, I think he plays better on the outside, and the return ability obviously gives you some extra added value there before the rule change, obviously, but maybe he'll get that back together too. So appreciate you swinging through.com. All right, let's see here. Next, We got to be careful because I do got some clips from a TV broadcast we do not want to show. So let's go ahead and get into this one here. All right. So I've been, like I said, going through and watching some of the tape this morning, putting Chalk Talk together. I'm just going to show you guys some random shots of some things that I've found already. If we can get this to go somewhat full screen. I want you to be able to read the text too here. But I put Jeff Hafley's dialing up the double barrel Mach T fire zone with Edgerrin Cooper. It's designing to bait Geno Smith into stepping up right into the D tackle, who is looping, but Cooper is just too damn quick, and Rashawn Gary collapses the left side. So we're just going to let this loop for a minute. I want you guys to see what we're talking about. Double barrel, what we're talking about is these two linebackers mugging the A-gap, okay? That's called a double barrel mug. Some people call it double A-gap mug. Some people call it double barrel. There's another term that Matt used for it as well. I've always heard it called double barrel. So you're showing a blitz with both linebackers. But really what you're doing is a fire zone blitz. So the Mach is Edgerrin in this case. There's the tight end. So it's strong left. The Mach and the nickel defense will always be on the tight end side. That makes Quay the will in the situation. So they both kind of sugar the blitz. Now Quay's going to drop out. This is zone coverage. Now let's back it up a touch. Watch Edgerrin Cooper. And when we say a Mach T fire zone, okay, that means the Mach is going to go first, and then the T is going to loop around. And the T in this case is Kenny. Now you'll notice Kenny is not like trying to get to the quarterback. This is what we talked about with these touch spies. And they're doing it with a little bit of a stunt look here, right? A little game up front. So watch Cooper cross. He's going to hit a little rib shot there on the guard, okay? And it's designed right here to allow Kenny to get into this gap. And if Geno feels the pressure from that side with Edgerrin Cooper going to the left, he's going to step up and Kenny's going to be waiting on him. All right. So you see Kenny here. He kind of takes the middle and there's another double team. The problem is, look at Rashawn Gary dog walking the tackle. Like look at how close the tackle's feet are to Geno. Now he's ass to ass with Geno Smith, and Edgerrin Cooper ends up beating that double team. Just a great play call. Again, zone defense. It looked like from this perspective, I'll have the full answer on Chalk Talk. It looked like it was a cover 3 defense. Still looks like a cover 3 because you got a couple hook curls here, hook curl here, hook curl here. You probably got 3 deep, and then you got a couple curl flats on the outside. And what's cool about that is you end up bringing what? 5? Is that a 5-man pressure, or was it? Did we drop somebody out? I think we dropped somebody out, didn't we? Let's see here. We did. I'll be damned, I missed that. All right, so I think that might be Enigbari over here, right? So it's actually going to be a drop there. So you see Enigbari get back? So it is just a 4-man rush. And you cause confusion there with Edgerrin Cooper around the side. Just a beautiful play call. And Edgerrin Cooper with the athleticism, man. There's not a lot of linebackers that can take on a double team, still have the speed to get to the outside shoulder of that double team and get in to make that sack. So it's a huge play by Gary, just dog walking the tackle back into Geno. And then obviously Edgerrin Cooper swallowing him up. And you've seen how Kenny didn't get overly aggressive there, right? If Kenny, here's the problem with just pinning your ears back and going. If Kenny just decides to shoot this gap, I want you to key in right here, okay? If Kenny decides, all right, I'm just going to hit this gap and go after the quarterback, then what will probably happen is he comes in here is Geno's going to have an opportunity to step up and out. Now, in this case, Edgerrin still beats his guy. So that's why Kenny's kind of patrolling that middle and occupying that double team there with 26 and 51. So the running back obviously settled in on Kenny at the end. So just a great job with the fire zone blitz by Jeff Hafley for sure. All right, next play. Let's dive into this real quick. I said, here's another angle of the Josh Jacobs running through a person's face. That poor soul was linebacker Tyrese Knott. Moment of silence, please. So we see number 48 get just absolutely crushed on this play right here, right? I went and looked it up. He is actually a linebacker. I thought it was going to be a safety, right? And I didn't notice where he was dropping from. I just seen the end of the play. But watch Josh Jacobs here, boys. This is a linebacker that's going to try to tackle Josh Jacobs in space. Obviously, first of all, he jukes a corner out of his jock, cuts across the field, and then wham on the backer. I mean, ass over tea kettle right there. Look at that. Look at his legs vertically in the air. Josh Jacobs is the man. And I love Tucker Kraft there, making sure he did not block in the back. It's huge. You know how bad you want to touch that defender? Just a phenomenal job there by Tucker Kraft as well. But again, Josh Jacobs in space. Jordan taking what the defense is giving him, getting it out on time. Look at the foot speed the quickness of Josh Jacobs is phenomenal, man. And again, knocking that linebacker out is awesome. So, clip the legs for the super edit. There you go, man. Yeah, it's again, you look at the running stats last night and you think Josh Jacobs had an off night, but man, when you dive into the passing, it's like, holy cow. He was really, really effective. 4 targets, 4 catches, if I remember correctly. And that's what you got to do. Get that when they're really keen on the run, get him out of the backfield and just dump the ball right over that heavy box and let him go to work. And that's how you roll there for sure. So, all right, Tim, you just jump in here when you're ready, buddy. We got Tim in the house now. What's up, big dog?
Victory Monday, late for work. Sorry.
This ain't work. If this was work, we'd both be homeless. You know what I'm saying? That's the way that works. But yeah, I got about 4 hours of sleep. So I just woke up thinking about the tape and got up early anyway, but good to see you in here, man. We're just going over some of the clips that I cut up this morning. Obviously this is the Josh Jacobs one. I was telling the guys and the gals here in the chat, I didn't realize he was smacking a linebacker in the mouth. I thought it was a safety. This is a linebacker, Tyrese Knight. Look at that, dude.
Wow. Here's the guy.
Yeah. How do you feel about the win, man, after sleeping on it? I know you just woke up, but anything changed from a couple hours ago?
No, I'm fired up. This is awesome. Another victory Monday. And, I don't see any reason why we can't win out. If we're going to play football like this, we can totally win out. This team, Matt LaFleur always talks about complimentary football, and we saw it. We saw it last night for sure.
Yeah, Nick McSwain in the chat, he said he had to hit you with this one right here, Tim.
How many times are you going to come to my press conference late? I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Oh, man, I love it. So, yeah, Josh Jacobs, just an absolute dog even in the passing game. Daryl in the chat, LOL, wakey, Tim.
I may or may not have had a daddy soda or two last night. And just, hey, I did, in my defense, I did wake up this morning on time. I just hit snooze and rolled back into bed,
There you go.
All it was.
All right, next play. Let's see what we got here. Oh, yeah, this is a fun one, too. Romeo Doubs wasn't going to let Josh Jacobs have all the fun, carrying 2 defenders into the end zone. Look at Dobby on this play, Tim. He just was not going to be denied, dude. Look at this. Perfect pass by Jordan, by the way. Oh, my God.
Yeah, absolute dart. Yeah. I mean, if he's off by, a millisecond or anything, there, that might not be a completion there. But you talk about tight window throws, like I always say with Jordan, clearly he used to, play behind Aaron Rodgers, right? I mean, you see these type of throws, you can't deny it. It clearly affected his development and his willingness to put that ball in those tight spaces. But yeah, Romeo doing what Romeo does. It's like, I missed 3 games. No big deal. I'll just come back and, act like I never left. And that's exactly what we saw from him. And just a physical receiver and great hands, man. I love watching Rome make plays like this, man.
Yeah, and you see Tyrese not getting abused again. He was the drop defender there, watching Jordan. And Jordan let's see if Jordan looks him off a little bit with his eyes, because you see see him, that quick glance to the right, 48, half step to the right, created the window he needed. He knew he was going with Dobby the whole time. And Dobbs carrying 2 defenders into the end zone. Man, Dobbs, great night last night. Obviously wearing the Guardian cap over the helmet, still sticking his head in there for the team. Dude's a real deal, man.
We talked about that, right? Say whatever you want about the aesthetics of the Guardian cap, but if it makes the player feel more comfortable coming off a concussion and, makes him feel like he can go out and just play the game, I'm all for it. I mean, the guy had 2 tutters yesterday, I mean, it is what it is. Honestly, I think it looks okay, especially with the all whites, right? You almost don't even notice it.
Yeah, definitely. Daryl in the chat says, asking the tough questions here, Tim. He says, what coffee are you drinking, Tim? I'm having Kaladi Bros coffee, French roast over here. What you got, Tim? What you got in that cup, brother?
I'm drinking 100% Costco Colombian.
I thought you were going to say Blanton's bourbon or something. You know what I mean? Just wake up on the bourbon this morning.
Oh, man.
My go-to, like if it was a late night last night, my go-to is Cafe Bustelo, the espresso style, like just strong, thick, and then hammer it with some cream and sugar. Let's go, dude. We're off the race. A little sweet Italian cream. Shout out to Coffee Mate, sponsor the show. All right, that's the way we roll. Froth that up a little bit so you can drink it with your pinky out. Life's too short, boys, to try to act tough drinking that black coffee. I'm just saying, man. You gotta have a little sugar in your life. I know Tim's is black coffee over there.
Oh yeah, man, straight up,
All
straight
right.
up, unleaded, right into the cup. That's all you need.
Yeah, number one Packer fan. I just started drinking that, Clay. It's so good. It is, man. Now you talking about giving you the jitters though. That Bustelo will have you climbing a telephone pole, bro. It ain't no joke. Like you'll be outside, push mowing the grass and doing it backwards and doing wind sprints and everything. It'll amp you up for sure. So, all right, man. iRock said that coffee in here, Tim. He said, I think what he was saying is it's
Thick.
That's right. That's exactly right. Half. All right. So Romeo obviously having a great day there, a great night, I should say. All right. Next play. I said in the tweet here, the placement of this Jordan Love throw plus Christian Watson's sideline awareness is the chef's kiss. Look at this right here, boys. Like this is just, I tried to clean it up with some AI to make it a little smoother in slow motion. But look at Jordan platform, step up, let that thing rip. You cannot throw that football any better. You just can't. Like it shouldn't have been an inch inside or an inch outside any more than it was. It was a perfect throw. And Christian Watson, again, we talked about people complain about the hands. Dude's
Y'all
hands
can shut the hell up now.
his hands have been phenomenal this year. He had that one drop that just, oh my God, it makes it sound like this dude can't catch a football. Could not be farther from the truth, man.
Clay, did you see Eli Berkowitz's tweet on this one with the Michael Jackson Smooth Criminal shot?
Oh yeah, with him leaning.
Oh, it was perfect. Yeah, great throw and catch right there, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, Prince in the chat said reminiscent of a Jordy catch in the playoffs years back. I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that. They're definitely creating a chemistry. And what I love about this throw is like Christian's got the speed, right? That Jordan, you maybe take a shot over the top, but you could tell this was by design. Hey, if we get this look, let's just go back shoulder.
Yeah.
So I think Prince makes a great point here, man, kind of comparing that to Jordy Nelson. It does kind of feel like A-Rod and Jordy right there, doesn't it?
I mean, it certainly looks very similar. Brings back memories. But, I mean, you talk about the body control and positioning from Christian Watson there. It's just phenomenal. And it does. It reminds us a lot of how Jordy played because 87 was always doing that, right? It didn't matter. We'd see plenty of throws that, Aaron would put him a yard or two out of bounds and you're still making the catch, And this one is just perfection, man. He dropped that ball in the bucket. So I don't want to hear about Jordan's issues with accuracy when he's throwing dime pieces like this. I mean, you can see the progression in his game. We talked about it last night.
I think he started the game 9 for 9. And again, this is on the road, right? Playoff-like atmosphere, two teams that are playing for the playoffs, right? Rose to the occasion, national television. I just love that the entire country got to see this happen, man, because he's caught some flack over the year. The Toyota-thon's in full effect now, baby. We're good to go, right? So
and it's having an effect on everyone else. I mean, Christian Watson's playing his best ball. I mean, the guy is really hitting his stride lately.
Yeah. Look at this right here. Nick explained if this is accurate. He said he was 17 of 18 in the third quarter.
Whew.
That is crazy. Absolutely crazy, man. Biz in the chat says, we're going to have a good problem in the near future about figuring out where we're going with these receivers. Yeah. So we kind of talked about this. You don't have to answer that question until next year, right? And you'll kind of let this play out. Maybe the playoffs is the deciding factor, Tim. Maybe whichever one of these two receivers and Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson really kind of rise to the occasion in the playoffs. That's the one you get a little more aggressive with. Now, you guys know my stance, and you're tired of hearing it because I'm tired of saying it. I wish they would go to them both early, like now. Hey, let's get an extension worked out now. You could probably get a little bit of a discount as opposed to waiting until that stock rises to the top level. Like I know Tim plays with the stock market just like I do. The goal isn't, oh, man, look, that thing blew up. Let's go buy it. It's catching that trend on the way up, getting a deal on it, and then looking back a year or two and going, boy, is he worth every dime or is it worth every dime? So I wish they would do that.
Right. Especially with Scoot, right? Scoot's going to want the paper. Let's be real. So the sooner you can go to him and get it done, the better. I think Rome is the kind of guy that, you just got to, not insult him and make him a decent offer, and he'll probably sign and stay here. But Christian Watson's going to want the money, man. I mean, and he deserves it. After the flack that he caught these last 2 years from the fan base, He's proven a lot of people wrong. And I personally love watching these haters eat their words every week.
Yeah. And I put a tweet out last night, man. It's funny how the people who are always negative, they were nowhere to be found in the first half. And in the second the offense started stuttering, here they came. All just magically, poof, like where were y'all at the first half? What happened? Like you're Packer fans? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
So, it's just again, we got to I've got to get better. I've got to get better at ignoring them. That's what I've got to do because it's frustrating. Letting that stuff kind of it did hurt me, Tim. Matter of fact. All right, let's see here. Donovan Schilling said let me adjust this if we can. Can we get that adjusted? Can we? We've adjusted it 8 times because one show we've got 2 people. The next show we've got 3 people. Then we've got 4. Every time I adjust it, we need a new layout. Donovan Schilling in the chat says one of the morning shows was talking about how bad football that the Rams-Niners game was, and they wouldn't even want to watch that game in the offseason. It reminded me that's right behind the corner. So, again, that ball game too, if I remember correctly, in San Francisco, it was a rain game. So you got to kind of take that into consideration too. In terms of, am I going to invest 3 hours into watching a bad game? I completely understand people being a little upset about that. Garrett in the chat says, any wide receiver in this group worth his salt should want to play in this offense. Money doesn't buy championships. Garrett, is that how you approach your job? That's what I want to know. do you go into work and go, guys, I don't need any more money. I just love working here. I hate spending other people's money, and the reality is they could have a good year or 2 and then be out of the game. Like how many times have we seen that happen? So it's funny. Early on in my fandom, I always sided with the team, with the league. And as I get older, I start to understand like the player's perspective even more and more. It's like, man, you got to kind of look at it through their eyes too, right? So, Number 1 Packer fan said, I don't care how much players get paid anymore. I'm not pocket watching. Pay the players who are going to help us win is all I ask. Amen. Again, and the cap is real. I'm not one of those the cap is fake guys, right? We've talked about this numerous times. The cap is very date sensitive, but you can pretty much make just about anything work. And what I mean by that is like you've got to make sure your ducks are in line for the long term. And if you make 2 or 3 really bad decisions overpaying a good player as opposed to overpaying a great player, then you're going to be hurting and it's going to set you back a year or 2. But I'm definitely not on the salary cap doom and gloom side where people are, how are they going to clean this up? This ain't going to work, So, that's just kind of how I see that anyway. But all right, moving along here, Tim, moving along. And we got a message that something was struggling on Twitter there, the connection on Twitter, but it's showing we're connected. So hopefully we're okay there. Up next, Kingsley Bore. This is wild. I wanted to show you guys this and get your take on it real quick. And it's going to make Chalk Talk, and this is the first time since we've done Chalk Talk that this has actually happened, that I'm going to take 3 literally back-to-back-to-back plays and just use it as one. And we probably won't even draw up what was the play call. We're just going to go watch 55. So this came in the third quarter, 1st and 10 with 1:30 left from their own 26-yard line, their own 26 being the Seattle Seahawks. And look at Kingsley Bore. This is the first down play right here. Okay, let's roll it. Just absolutely dominates the right tackle. Power move inside, off the block, sack. All right. Great way to start the drive, correct?
Great technique too, man. He just stuck that right hand right in that dude's left shoulder. I said, Excuse me, sir.
So now you've got him in 2nd and long, right? So now we're in 2nd and long. Very next play, Kingsley Bore on the ET stunt. So now you see he's the one kind of doing the touch spy in the middle while Kenny's going to rush on the outside and play contain. This is designed to force Geno Smith to the right, and Kenny's going to be waiting on him. But watch Kingsley. Look at Kingsley get off that. The touch spy worked perfectly. Geno thinks, okay, we've got a big run here, right? Yep. Or not Geno, the backup. I'm sorry, was it Sam Howell at this point, right? So he thinks big scramble here, but that's that touch spy we're talking about. And look at J.J. Enagbare run him down. Bang. So 2nd down, only a 2-yard gain. So I think they lost 5 yards. Yeah, here it is. 1st down, Kingsley Enagbare sack, 5-yard loss. 2nd down, 2-yard gain. It was Kingsley Enagbare with the tackle. Here is the 3rd down play. Kingsley Enagbare on this side now, okay? Watch this play develop. Again, an ET stunt. He's rushing in to take the double team on to free Carl Brooks up off the outside. Look at Rashawn Gary beating the tackle like a damn drum.
Yep.
That's going to force the quarterback, jab left. He jukes Carl Brooks, and then when he goes right, look at Kingsley Enagbare in the middle. Little spin move. You're going to run him down with that stride length for the sack.
He is sneaky fast, man.
Bro, you and I learned that from Greg Cosell. Like, stride length is a real thing.
Yep.
You know, you think foot speed and how fast somebody is in miles per hour and this and that. Stride length, man, especially in a football situation, is absolutely huge. And that's something that Christian Watson's got. And that's why you've heard people like the Philadelphia Eagles DBs, Christian Watson's rookie year, said, man, that dude, he had us all taking the wrong angles. And I do think it's the long legs and stride length. But what do you think about this with J.J. Enagbare, man? Like, he literally, this entire sequence, this drive here, three and out, it was just J.J. Enagbare blowing everything up.
Yep. He's a menace, dude. He's just an absolute menace out there. But he's playing under control. You know, I think when he first got here, that was kind of an issue, right? He was just kind of over pursuing, right, on some of the rushes. He kind of get himself washed out of a play, and then it was like, you know, this year he's like a whole new man. And you see stuff like this on the second down. We see a tackle, 2-yard gain. It's like, dude, he stopped an explosive right there on this play here. I mean, if he doesn't wrap up there, that could be, you know, even more yardage. But it's just fun to watch him play, man. You know, him firing on all cylinders and getting to the next level like this, it just makes our entire defensive front better, and it takes a lot of pressure off some of the other guys. And you see it; he works really well in tandem with our D tackles, and then you know, Rashawn wreaking havoc too. You just love to see it, man. I hope they can keep putting games like this together.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like poetry in motion. Everybody knows what shoulder to attack. Like, Rashawn Gary attacks the left or the right shoulder of the quarterback on Gary's left side to make him step right back up into where J.J. Enagbare is on that touch spot there.
Yeah, we got to give our props to Coach Ogabasi and Coach Rev for sure. Getting these guys ready to play.
So what was it, 7 sacks? 7 sacks what we had last night?
I believe so, yeah.
Honestly did not expect that. I didn't. I could see 3 sacks, maybe 4. I did not expect 7 sacks last night. So. We
talked about that leading up to the game, though. I had mentioned, like, hey, man, this might be the game, man. Let's let the guys go. You know, send the dogs, if you will. And I think they did a good job of balancing that pass rush with the blitzing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We dialed up a few blitzes, but we also rushed 4 and got home a lot. And it's great to see it.
Yeah. Nick McSwain in the chat said, I saw people dogging on Gary last night. It's hilarious, man. Like, he leads the team in pressure percentage. He leads the team in sacks. He's only $11 million against the cap this year. He's got a higher pressure percentage than TJ Watt this year. And he's got 4 sacks in the last 5 games. And I posted the video of the sack, and immediately people, it was Carl Brooks the reason he got the sack. It's like, oh my God. Like, this dude cannot do anything right for some fans. And again, here we are talking about the minority that are loud. So let's just keep it moving here. Let's see here. Biz 1987 says, great breakdown. When I watch the rush, I just say, get him. Hey, I do too when I'm watching the game. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. He said, nice to see the ins and outs of the plays. And it's important. Like, Biz, this is like, people think it's just, all right, they're just trying to get the quarterback. Everybody's got an assignment right here. Like this play right here. Everyone's got a job to do from a rush lane standpoint. This end is going in to hit the guard to free up Carl Brooks looping around the other side. Well, guess what? That end's now going to shoot for this shoulder of the quarterback because he knows Carl Brooks is coming off the edge. On top of that, you got a defensive lineman with the touch spy is going to slide over in case that quarterback steps up and out. Gary playing that outside rush. Everybody's got their own rush lane. It's not just, hey, let's turn it loose and go. Everything is so organized and orchestrated. And when it's on, it's a thing of beauty. And you just see it's just absolute chaos. You see how the quarterback thought, okay, I'll scramble left. Oh, crap. 94 is there. So now I'm going to scramble right and look at Enagbare. You see that little deception there, Tim? Watch Enagbare turn his back. Right here, look. He's just getting skinny, acting like he's hiding. See him?
Yep.
And then watch. Whoop. It's over. Love it, man. They were playing confident last night. It was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, I think that's something else to point out about Enigbare's game here. You know, let's talk about the FBI, right? The football intelligence. knowing where you are on the field, knowing the situation, and being able to do things like this, I love it.
Yeah. Joyce Martha in the chat, people dogging players are miserable in their life. It's true. It is true. It's true. And the other thing with it, Joyce, in my opinion, and we'll move along to the next play here if we got one. My opinion, people let their emotions control them, especially during the game. They're so quick. Like I talked about, there's a significant amount of fans that only tweet negative. Like you'd never hear from them when something positive happens with the Packers. It's only negative. And that's how they choose the fan. All right, cool. Got it. I've learned just mute them and move on. And if they get rude, block them and move on, right? Don't let them, make you miserable too. Now, with that being said, like what I think they do is they have tweeted so much about a specific thing. Let's say it's Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary is all of a sudden garbage, right? He went from one of the best pass rushers to he's horrible at football now. Tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet. When he's doing good, it's like, oh, crap. Now that he's doing good, it's going to make me look stupid. It's going to expose my ignorance to the game, and I've got to double down now. Well, here's the reason he did good. Yeah. My previous 16 tweets weren't incorrect. I wasn't being an emotionally charged buffoon. I was just, let me justify my stance, if that makes sense. It's okay to admit you're wrong. It's okay to go, man, I overreacted. I do it all the time. Like I said, I'm married. I'm wrong all the time. It's like they're convinced that people think if I'm wrong, they're not going to like me. It's actually the opposite. When you're a know-it-all, I told you so, negative Nancy, they hate you. That's the reality of the situation. Go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry.
No, that's so true. I was just going to say, are you a fan of the game? Do you want to learn? Do you want to watch? Do you want to get excited, cheer on your team, or are you obsessed with being correct about everything?
Right.
And it's the I told you so it's like, so what? You know what I mean? Even when you are correct, you're right. Nobody likes a know-it-all. It's like Oscar from The Office, right? Actually, like who wants to be around that too much,
Yeah. Like Prince said here too, Enigbari gave him a little extra squish at the end. Nothing wrong with that, especially when they're not in the pocket, right? Like when they're scrambling out. I think he's talking about this final play right here. It's fair game to put all your body weight on a player when they're trying to scramble as a runner, right?
Yep.
Right here, you're good to go. He's cutting it back in. He got the ball tucked. Give him that little extra right there on the rib cage. You know what I'm saying? So
I love it. It's a grown man's game, man.
Really is. All right, cool. That's all the highlights that I had put together there. So we're pretty well caught up. I was thinking about just, separating into 2 episodes, but we'll just run with one here. Is there anything else you want to hit on, Tim? Anything at all kind of comes to mind? I'm going to go try to see if I can pull the PFF review and get the full snap count. I'd like to see how many Edgerrin Cooper ended up with, but anything at all here, man?
No, that I'm kind of right there with you. I'm curious about the snap counts for a lot of these guys, just to see how we were utilizing personnel, because I felt like we saw a little bit of everybody that was available last night, at least in some form. But no, man, I'm just happy to wake up on a victory Monday. Grateful for another dub, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. I don't know what's up with NFL or with PFF, but they've got I don't even see the Packers at the top of the ticker here. So if we could find it, here we go. Let's see if they got anything as far as recap real quick. Sometimes these write-ups are really cool. Yeah, so highest graded players, Edgerrin Cooper, 95.5. Carrington Valentine, 90.2. TJ Slayton, 89.4. Player of the game was Edgerrin Cooper in their eyes. And then when you look at the snap counts, the offensive snap count, really not that important. I think we got a good idea of what we had here. Christian Watson, 50 snaps. So he led all the wide receivers. Jaden Reed only 38 snaps. So Romeo Dobbs got 48. So it was definitely Watson number 1, Romeo 2, Jaden Reed as a slot. Now Tavion Wicks, 30 snaps. Like I said, he moved the chains there on one of those important plays as well. Let's see here. Defensive snaps. Eric Stokes, 59 snaps. Carrington Valentine, 58. So
we get a grade on Stokes yet?
I haven't seen anything yet. It usually just shows kind of the top graded players. They do an initial grading, but then it disappears so they can fine tune it and adjust it. So we haven't heard yet. But obviously with Jair Alexander being out and Keyshawn having to go to the slot, they decided to just run with Stokes and Valentine on the outside. So 59 and 58 snaps. Keyshawn Nixon with 56. Obviously he was returning on kicks as well. So Eric Wilson got the most reps of any linebacker at 37. So I feel comfortable saying he was probably chosen as the linebacker 1. Edgerrin Cooper, 34 snaps. Now, again, could have broke a shoelace or something at some point and had to come out for a few snaps, and we just didn't notice it. That could have been the case. But as it sits right now, Eric Wilson, 37, Edgerrin Cooper, 34, Kenny Clark with 32, Rashawn Gary. Of the edge defenders, Rashawn Gary had the most with 29. Then it was Lucas Van Ness with 25. So, yeah, there's as far as Van Ness and his snap count, that's right there on par, right? They have a heavy rotation. Aaron Mosby, 22, Brenton Cox Jr., 20. Kingsley Nibare, 22 as well. So they're just keeping that hockey line fresh, man. That's exactly what's going on there, too.
And what's wrong with that, right? I mean, that's the mentality you should have when you've got a young team, stacked with talent. And let's be real, like you get better by playing, and it's difficult. Matt LaFleur's talked about it. How the hell do I get all these guys involved? It's difficult. So you got to have a rotation, man. You have to rotate guys in. And you're better players. Your cream of the crop guys are going to get the bulk of the snaps, and that's fine. They're going to get the majority of the snaps, but you can't let young talent just rot away on the sideline. You've got to get fresh legs in there and rotate guys in. And I'm just happy that that's exactly how this staff handles this team, and guys get their reps and we get wins,
Yeah. And again, 6 different guys with sacks, obviously Andy Bari had 2. So yeah, I mean, it's when you get those fresh legs, man, like that's the other thing many people don't talk about is, and I've learned it over the years, like a good pass rusher has 3 or 4 moves, right? Like at least 2 to 3 moves, but 3 to 4 for those elite guys, meaning you'll use a bull, and then you'll switch it up with a little finesse. You'll use a swim move a couple times, and you'll come back with a rip. You may hit a punch and a spin, whatever, a swat and a swim. Like you got a multitude of these moves that you can use. Gary's go-to is that put the literally the hand right underneath, not to the face, but just 3 inches below the chin, and just bench press them with one arm and drive them right back into the quarterback, that straight arm move. That's Gary's kind of go-to, right? When you take all that in consideration, these offensive linemen, they're looking for, okay, he did this last time, he might be coming back with this. It's just punch and counter, punch and counter punch, punch and counter punch. Well, when you have a defender come on and rush you 2 or 3 times, and now it's a different defender, that you're in that tackle's mind or that guard's mind going, okay, what did he do last time? Well, that's somebody new. What do we like? You just got to kind of rely on your technique and hold on for dear life. I think there's a factor there too, man. I really do.
I agree. I mean, it's kind of like baseball, right? You keep switching pitchers, bringing in your relievers. It's hard for a hitter to, get a rhythm, and it's true in the NFL too, man. It's, victory by committee, and I love it, man. It does. It keeps the opponent guessing, and if you can keep someone back on their heels rather than on their toes, then you're going to be in a chance to win games, and I love it.
Yeah, 9. Looks like we had 9 different players have a quarterback hit too. We had 12 on the total on the day. 9 players got a hit on the quarterback. That is absolutely awesome. So Ron Sample says, did you guys talk about Wyatt's spin move? Unreal for a big man. I hadn't got to it yet. I was going to throw a video up, but I hadn't yet. That spin move was deadly. I might do that right now before I head out to town. It came in the third quarter, 12-16 left, 1st and 10 play. Honestly, that's what won you the middle 8 because that led to the punt. That was on 1st and 10 that Wyatt got that spin move sack, and it put them behind schedule, right? You hear me complain all the time about first down passing and how it set you behind schedule. Perfect situation there. They did it. Wyatt spin move sack, ruined it. So that secured you winning the middle 8 3-0 by getting that sack on the opening drive of the second half there on the very first play. So absolutely huge, man.
Yeah, that one I talked about that last night. I was just fired up over that. That was probably of all the 7 sacks of the game, that I think Devontae Wyatt's was one of my favorites for sure. And just the way when he came out of that spin move too, how he kept his body straight and just launched up, perfect timing and just, gets the sack. I love it.
Yeah. Nick McSwain earlier said also love on the free play was beautiful. It just felt like Aaron Rodgers, right? Free play, chuck and duck to Tucker Kraft. No harm, no foul. If they pick it, oh, well, it's a penalty anyway. Tucker doing a great job pulling it down, getting some yak afterwards. Huge.
Oh, yeah. Tucker's down there somewhere.
Exactly. Free play. let's roll the dice here. You know what I mean? Let's
sir.
see what happens. Damon Stewart, Willen's still that guy. You know, that's the first time I seen him with a bad punt this year. You seen the one that was like 30-some yards or whatever. You know, initially you want to get pissed off, but immediately I went, no, that's Will. Hey, listen, he's done more than his part. He gets one of those. You know what I mean? That happens every game, different ball game. But the fact that he's been so lights out is huge this year, man. He's been one of the unsung heroes for sure. So
yeah, I mean, you do anything enough times, you're gonna make a mistake here and there. I mean, it is what it is, and we might have the best punter in the NFL. Our for sure a top 5 punter in this league, and a field tilter, and Daniel Whelan appreciation time. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then Prince wraps it up, says, "I want a Nacho Libre wig." So there you go, Sean Ryan. Man, I thought I tweeted it out. I tried to pull it up earlier. I'm sure you guys can go find. I think it was Tyler Dunn did an article on Sean Ryan. It is phenomenal. Go give it a read. Talks about a rusty lighter, I think, from Vietnam, and how he's just like I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick, Tim. Let me get your parting thoughts or anything you want to hit on the chat. We're gonna wrap up here in just a second. I gotta find it. It's gonna drive me crazy if I don't find it. It is really, really cool.
I think overall with Sean Ryan, he's playing better, and his game has steadily improved. Last night you saw a couple hiccups. Looked like communication kind of things that, he's going left when he should be going right, zig instead of zag kind of thing. Hey, it happens. Like Clayton just said here, you want to make those mistakes, infrequently. If it's happening all the time, we got an issue and we might have to bring someone else in. But I think Sean Ryan has been stepping up and making a case for that, being that right guard, in the future.
Yeah, so here it was. Tyler Dunn put the tweet out and said, every game day, Sean Ryan texts a picture of the rusted cigarette lighter from the Vietnam War to his dad, then transforms. Quote, "I feel like this wave come over me. It's time to go effing smash some heads. Meet the brawler who's morphing these Packers too." And he got an article on him. It's a phenomenal read. But again, man, you need those goons in the lineup. Those guys that are going to do the dirty work. Josh Sitton was that for a while for Aaron Rodgers, if you'll remember. He was that dude in the middle that like that. That guy's a little off his rocker. Maybe Sean Ryan can become that. And again, if Josh Myers does walk in free agency and you kick Elton Jenkins to center, then you're talking about a healthy Jordan Morgan on one side and that Mahler on the other side of Sean Ryan. I'm happy with the way Sean Ryan's progressed this year. I really am, man.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything else, Tim, as we wrap up here, buddy? Anything else at all?
Just checking the chat here. Oh, Donovan Schilling. Look.
Kicker talk. Hey, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you want to know what? Our kicker was 100% again last night. There's
3
the kicker
for 3 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points. Let's go. So he's missed 1 kick this year. Is that right, Tim? 1 since we signed him?
Yep.
Love it. I'm looking forward. We need to do that on the evening show. Listen, we're going to hit the PFF grades. We'll do Chalk Talk tomorrow night, but I got to take some allergy medicine. My nose is itching.
I woke up the same way this morning. It's crazy.
I'm hurting over here, Linda. I'm hurting real bad. But yeah, I would say he's probably top 5 in field goal percentage. Wouldn't you think? Like only missing 1.
Yeah.
He's got to be at least top 10. That's just wild to think about. So
Brandon McMoney. That's our guy.
Everybody said it. Prince McMahon is so solid. Great pickup. Absolutely, man. And again, that's another player, too, that you've seen enough, Tim. I'm kind of like, hey, why not get ahead of that? Go give him a little guaranteed money. Let's get him under contract for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why McManus shouldn't finish his career in Green Bay.
Definitely. All right, guys. Ben Holden says you all are the best. I'm out. Appreciate you, Ben. Thanks to everybody hanging out. This was a lot of fun. We'll see you guys tonight for PTA Live, 7 p.m. Central. We'll have all the PFF grades, and we'll continue to share everything that comes across social media, anything around this huge Packers win out in Seattle as they win 30 to 13. I said 16 a couple times, actually 30 to 13. So don't want to sell us short. So we'll see you guys and gals tonight. Tim, thanks for joining me, bud. Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for having me. Sorry I was late.
It's all good, dude. It's all good. Let's go back to bed now, all right? All right, everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you tonight.
And we go.
We out.
Bye, guys.